Before I get started, I know it's been a really long time since I've made a video. A lot has been going on in my private life, so I just haven't been able to make videos at all. So, some of you might already know about this, but I made an album. You can listen to it on Spotify right now, or whatever platform you use to listen to music. I've been making music way before I started making games. I started writing my own songs around 2017, and I started playing guitar when I was 9, so about 9 years ago. Yeah, that long. I do everything by myself, by the way. Mostly. I did join a band, link of a song by us in the description. Anyway, so a while back at the beginning of 2020, I discovered the album Hope by the band Klaatu. At first, I didn't love it, but then I watched a video about the story inside of that album. I instantly fell in love with it. Just, the album was so great. The album with the story is just great. I listened to it so much that I got inspired to make my own concept album. An album with a story, basically. I started with the story in the summer vacation of 2020. It's basically about someone who has been stuck in space all alone for a really long time. And yeah, it was inspired by Hope. A lot. Like, a lot. Hope is also has to do with space stuff. That doesn't matter. So, my album was also a little bit influenced by the album American Idiot by Green Day, but that's not a lot. It's a lot less apparent than Hope. The album was actually conceived of at the same time as the idea for this channel. Crazy to think about, am I right? That doesn't matter. Okay, first I start with the order I wrote the songs in, and then I'll actually get to the story. So, when I got home, I started with writing the first song, an introduction to the story. But I just wasn't able to do this. So I started with the second song. I don't know why, but I did. The song was called When I Was Young. I also was writing the song To the Death of Me at basically the same time. After those two songs, I went back to the first song, Somebody's Face. Fun fact, I actually chose some of the names of the songs before I wrote the actual song, because I knew what had to be in the song, story-wise. Anyway, after having written Somebody's Face, I decided that I will have a structure to the type of song. So first, a kind of slow song like Somebody's Face, like I already said, then 2 rockish songs, and then repeat that until I have 7 songs. I was initially planning on 8, but I just decided to do 7. Every slowish song would be really important to the story, and would be called Somebody's Face, but with something after it so you can distinguish them from each other. The order of the songs written after that was The Planet, Somebody's Face Act 2, Somebody's Face Act 3, and Home Again. I had a lot of trouble writing Home Again because it was really hard. It had I had to get from the end of the planet where the person lands on the planet to basically the end of the entire album. So I had to do a lot. Anyway, let's start at the beginning with the story. So, if you want to figure out the story by yourself, then I recommend you stop watching. But if not, stay watching, keep watching. I'm going to talk about the story now. The beginning. The noises you hear at the beginning, yes, they actually mean something. They're not just there for fun. I was planning to reveal why these sounds were there, but at the end I didn't, because it just didn't fit. The noises you hear is someone or something receiving the music from this person who's singing it. That's all I'll say, because otherwise it won't be fun for you to discover things by yourself. Then It starts with this.
Wake up, picture on the window of my pod, and I'll just think, what's this girl doing here?
It immediately introduces a lot of things. It tells the listener that the person is in some kind of pod and that there's a picture with some girl on it. Okay, let's continue.
All I know is that I know her. Don't know what she's doing here. Think about her while looking through the window at the stars in outer space.
The person seems not to know who this girl is exactly, but they do know that they know her somehow. They think about this girl a lot, even while looking at the stars in outer space. After that is the first time the person calls this girl somebody's face, aware that they will probably never know the real name of this girl. After the all I can think of part comes the first time you hear a voicemail that somebody left for this person. You can recognize this by the filter that is on the voice and by the talking, because every time there's talking it's basically the voicemails. The voicemails are basically one of the most important parts of the story, so listening to them is really necessary to understand the story more. The next song, When I Was Young, is where the character reflects on their time on Earth and how long it has been since that. It also reveals that the person has been stuck on this spaceship for 4,200 years. Somehow. By the way, I'm not gonna tell you everything about the story because I want you to interpret things yourself. I said this already, but I think it's needed to repeat that. Then you hear a call forward to the song To the Death of Me, making the mindset of this person even more clear. The part where the song becomes a bit slower is probably the most important of the song. It has quite a bit of exposition in it. In this part the player says,
Save the words that were sent between us, you know what I mean.
Indicating that this person did talk to the person on Earth for at least a little bit, contradicting what was said in the first song. The songs are purposefully messy to show that the person isn't doing great mentally. This applies to all songs basically, so yeah. Now we get to my personal favorite song, To the Death of Me. In the beginning of the song the person says,
Sometimes I think about the heat that of the universe, and then I ask, has it already happened? Has it already been so long?
What they are saying is basically that they lost all sense of time. Almost immediately after that, the person says, unless this part-time shit isn't going through. Basically hinting at something not working in the system, and that might be the reason why they don't remember the name of this girl they call somebody's face. The next part, including the chorus, is basically continue about how their mindset is currently. They assume that they will die on this spaceship. Now, the next part might be a bit confusing, so let me explain it. They say that they will raise their glass to the people on business class because their accommodations would be way better than the ones of this person. Immediately after that, they say, I guess you already guessed that I'm delusional. This is supposed to tell the listener that the business class part doesn't exist and that they are just alone. After that they say, can you blame me? Can you save me? Here they are trying to get help from anyone who might receive their songs. After the second chorus, the song slows down. Here the person tells the listener that they are basically an alcoholic, but they also don't want to be that. They know what they are doing is bad, but they also lost all hope, so they don't really care about that anymore. After the solo, they say, "It's time to die for me. Why should I try if I don't believe?" They have just given into death. Completely given up, basically. But they decide to take one last drink, showing that they actually still have a little bit, just a little bit of hope left. And they raise their glass to, they say, "It's to the death of me." And that's the last chorus, and then it's end the songs. This song basically teaches us a lot about the person themselves. Now, next up on Disney Channel. Somebody says Act 2. Okay, I saw the opportunity, so yeah. This song basically speaks for itself. Again, you should pay attention to the voicemails.
Sorry to tell
Why did I never listen? I didn't even know that you reached out.
So if you hear this, don't come back.
At this part, they realized that they missed a lot of calls, blaming themselves for whatever happened on Earth. Now, the song "The Planet" is the longest song of the entire album, which makes sense if you know what happens in it. It immediately begins with the person noticing that they have come across a solar system. The first 3 minutes is basically only describing what the solar system is like. Seeing this solar system gives the person a lot of hope. And they make the decision to land on a planet that seems familiar in some way. When they decide this, they're really excited to feel the gravity again, which you hear. A pretty long instrumental part follows that. This is where the landing on the planet is happening. Eventually you hear one chord that keeps going for a while. This indicates that they have landed on the planet. After that, there comes a melody. This shows the excitement of the character while the hatch is opening up to the planet. This is made clearer when the singing starts again, and when they suddenly realize that there's breathable air on this planet. They're really confused by this, and then just the song ends. Home Again starts then. Home Again is, I think, the worst song, but it's still really important. The person thinks that the planet that they have landed on is Earth, because it seems so similar. So to check that and check again, just to be sure, and eventually it's clear that it is Earth. The song speaks for itself, basically, for the rest of the song. The entire song is just very understandable, I think. And the song ends with that they find an old city in ruins. And the next song starts with the person saying, "Walking here feels like fiction to me." The person just can't believe that they're actually back on Earth. In a city, nonetheless. I could go into more detail, but that might get too boring. So I'll just talk about the most important stuff. In this song, they walk around the city, eventually going into a building, and in that building, they find the same picture that they mentioned in the first song. They decide to turn that picture around, and they see something is written down, and because of that, they learn the name of the girl in the picture. And the album ends on "Somebody's Face" or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it ends on the title. It also ends on some noise indicating that the transmission that I previously mentioned has ended. There's still stuff I didn't mention in the songs, and also stuff I myself don't know about. So, I would be honored if you gave it a listen for yourself and interpret it for yourself. And if you want the lyrics, just go down in the comments and ask for the lyrics. I would be happy to share them, but I need to type them out for my... I would need to type them out from this, because I wrote I wrote all the rock songs wrote in this thing. So, link to the album is in the description, and so is the link to my Discord server if you want to talk more about the album. So, if you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Hopefully. Bye!